Hi, my name is Adeline. I founded actually two companies through Business Lab. One is Add Ice Cream, a functional foods company where we did healthy ice cream, believe it or not. I've sold that company and now I have a company called Maison Fortunée. We make luxury towels, but I have that as a side project and my main job is the CEO of the e-commerce company Kids Brand Store. So my childhood dream was to become an airline pilot, so I don't really know how I ended up here. But I did that, and I graduated when there was the financial crisis of 07, 08, so pilot jobs were not that common to get. It was hard to get that. And then I applied to Stockholm School of Economics, and well, you know, it was banking or consulting, and I felt that consulting was a pretty good option. When I was at Mckinsey, I really felt that, you know, we were helping clients with all these super complex questions, and it was also like really big companies, and I really felt that I wanted to understand everything from like the start to the finish, and I wanted to start a company where I really understood the product. So for me, it was kind of to really get hands-on experience. That was the like first thought, and then I do enjoy food, I do enjoy training and fitness, so there was a lot of development towards like the protein powders, and influencers started to come on, so I just thought this would be an interesting idea to try, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and you can, you know, go back to work or do something else. The most rewarding part about founding a business or running a business, I would say, is the accountability, that you can really see, you know, what you put in actually gives results, or you have to change your strategy, but it's really up to you, and you have that freedom as well. But if you don't perform, it's not going to perform, and if you perform, it really can perform very well, and I think that's really exciting. I'm not always motivated, and I haven't met anybody who is, so it's like small habits, things you do every day, and to make sure that you stay disciplined, and also not have like too many of those habits or trying to change too much at a time. For example, this is not related to company building, but if you want to go to the gym, you know, start by make sure to go there, you know, once a week and get that habit in, and then you can increase it. So I would say the solid foundation is discipline. The biggest fear I think people have is failure, and I think it's not really the money or, you know, all of that. I think it's what people would think of you. You take a leap of faith, and in most or in many cases, it doesn't work. And how are people going to talk about you? How are people going to see you? Are you going to be like an unsuccessful person? I think that, you know, people can tell themselves that I don't care what people think, but the human beings do care a lot about what people think. I overcame that fear of failure myself, or at least working on it, is by starting to fail publicly pretty early on. I can give an example. When I was 18 and I was going to get my driver's license, it was a pretty big deal for me, and I really, you know, wanted to get it on the first time, and I had worked really hard for it. And I made sure to tell everybody that today is the day that I'm going to pass the driver license test, and I failed. And everybody were asking me, like, how did it go? How did it go? Because I made such a big deal about it. And I basically had to say that it didn't go well. And, you know, I can say today when I'm 30 years old that, you know, it doesn't really matter. But back then it really did. It was so embarrassing for me because I really saw myself as a person who could drive. and I didn't pass. That was a start in like starting to actually learn to fail publicly and saying, I'm going to do this, I'm going to succeed, and I didn't, because you see that people actually don't care that much about your life, and most people are just supportive, and the very most, they're like, okay, you didn't pass it, I don't care. And then it makes it less scary, and then you can apply that to even bigger challenges. The biggest problem with like high achievers and super students from Stockholm School of Economics or wherever is that you never fail. You never learn to fail. You always learn to succeed. You're always the best in class. You're always great at sports. You can always, like, you succeed in everything. And then you found a company or you're doing something that is so huge and you don't know how to handle that. What I look for in a co-founder is somebody who is a passionate person, somebody who wants to work hard, obviously somebody that I fit with personality-wise, but also somebody who's pretty easygoing. There are going to be problems, there are going to be bumps in the road. Maybe your co-founder is not going to be your co-founder anymore, or you're going to leave the company. And I think that just trying to find somebody who you can have like honest talks with is a thing that you like often forget. Recruiting is the hardest thing you're ever going to do. But when I started, one thing that was really helpful for me when I did at Ice Cream, we grew pretty quickly in our following on Instagram, so we had some people contacting us. And to make sure when you have somebody who's really interesting to work for you or to do something, to leverage that. I've also used like recruiting firms and paid a lot of money and done a lot of unsuccessful recruiting. So it's super challenging. Well, I find work-life balance by not finding work-life balance. I think that it's such a myth that especially we women tend to get on our shoulders, so we get something else to do. We need to take care of our family, we need to work, we need to be successful. We also need to look good, by the way, and we need to find that damn work-life balance. So I just realized that I'm not gonna find it. It's fine. What you can do is to make sure to choose a partner that actually supports you and that you can support as well. Somebody who helps out at home and that you actually split the chores 50-50. Take a lot of help, realize that you're not gonna have a six-pack ab, be super successful, have the best marriage, have sex 4 times a week, and have 2 children. It's never gonna happen. I've had many role models during my journeys, and I still have. I think it's a mistake to think that you're gonna get like one mentor and that person is gonna satisfy everything. Because what I get a lot from people who are starting companies is that I need a mentor, and it's like, okay, what is that mentor gonna do for you? So I think you have to think about role models and mentors like you think of friends. You have some friends for some things and other friends for other things. You're not gonna find one person who's gonna mentor you your entire life. I actually got a mentor through Business Lab the first time around, and I still talk to her. Her name is Pia, and she's absolutely amazing. She started a lot of companies, and she's super helpful. I think that's the key. You have to find somebody or some people who actually think that your journey is interesting and that want to help. And then I've had some, investors that have become really good mentors, and that you can actually ask all those difficult questions. So the Business Lab was really my second home, because I started my business when I was first at Mckinsey. So I had this super structured life. I went to work, I had my colleagues and everything. And then I had the idea for Ad Ice Cream, and I pitched it to my friend. We started doing it a little bit together. Then she had other plans, and then I was kind of alone doing it. And at the same time, I applied for the Business Lab. And it was just so fantastic to have a community because I was so used to it from work. And this became an even closer community because everybody were starting from scratch and didn't know what they were doing. And it was just so beautiful because you could be really vulnerable and you got so much help. So I think that obviously all the perks you get are great, but just to feel that you actually belong somewhere was amazing for me. So I would recommend the Business Lab to anybody who get the chance to be here. And if you're serious that you really want to start a company and you have the opportunity to get a spot here, I would definitely take it. The advice I would give to somebody who is really in the beginning of their journey or young entrepreneurs would be to really work on that failure part. Start to fail early on and don't be too afraid of it, because I think in general that's the biggest problem when you're young or in the beginning of your journey. Just keep moving, move forward every day. Don't get stuck too much in Excels or business plans or all of that. Just make sure that you're doing stuff, and someday it's going to take you forward, someday it's going to take you backwards, but overall it's always going to take you forward.